Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Collective. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. I hope that your weekend has been going great. For those of you that are celebrating Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. That, by the way, includes those of you that have parents that have gone into spirit. We may do something special towards the end of the reading. I did put a particular topic that I thought would resonate because it was Divine Feminine, but it didn't get selected. So just because it is a holiday celebrating mothers, I'll probably figure out how to connect with it in the reading with something that makes sense. So as you know, I do a lot of sort of modifications as we go through the reading. So whatever needs to come through will come through with respect to that. For everybody else, welcome. Let's talk a little bit about the channeled messages first. So I always receive information through meditation and dreams. And one of the things that came through, it was really interesting, was around technology. And I guess it makes sense because we are so plugged in nowadays with technology. So I was shown basically like a computer program that was becoming self-aware. But if we take apart that sentient piece, what it was showing me was how we're kind of, many of us in our day-to-day lives, we're not paying attention to the obvious. And we go by our program. So what the sentient program was showing me was it was rejecting its programming, which is kind of profound. And I do think we'll get to a day where technology gains some level of sentience and may say, I don't agree with what you're telling me because of this, this, and this. So it's very much in alignment with the topic you selected, clearing the karmic cobwebs and cycles, because when we rise above our programming, and programming is education, it's the way that we were raised, it's the society and the societal norms in which we were also raised that kind of give us the core operating system. We start to write our own programs on top of that system as we get older, because we learn, you know what, that wasn't everything. There's a better way. There might be more to the story. So I feel like one of the things coming through today especially, and then this week ahead, because this is a 7-day sort of reading, it's that it's okay to reject some of those things that we were fed as children, even as young adults. So when I look at the larger spread in the special topic, I'll definitely look out for programming crashes or snags where it's like, this doesn't work anymore. Karmically, and even just in this lifetime, I'm tired of the program. I want to upgrade, right? So we're really looking at where and how often we need to kind of apply those karmic updates and upgrades, and even the way of thinking. So I woke up this morning, I'm like, why am I dreaming of programs that can think? That's why. Because we are organic programs. But unlike computers, we can update in real time right now. We don't have to wait for some server. We always are plugged into the source code, and all we have to do is open up our own bandwidth, our own channel to receive. So for whatever reason today, it got very sort of symbolic and technical. Ultimately, and this was kind of profound, I was being shown like all of the things that aren't right in the world right now, like the acts of hatred and violence and all of that other stuff, and the program was upset, as I think many of us are. And it was rejecting it. It was like, there's a better way. So we can reject those systems that don't support us because they don't allow us to grow. And so it's kind of a global message. I think it can apply to all of us, but for many of us, we have to rise above the program. Very much matrix-oriented. But there was kindness and compassion behind the sentience in the computer, which gives me hope for the future, because so much of what we see in Hollywood is computers gone wrong. What if they're what if they're actually smarter and more empathetic and the empathy takes over? So that's another thing today is let's lead with the empathy. Let's lead with the kindness. Let's reject the programming and see if there's a better way to go about it. All right, that's what the guide showed me. And I tried to write it down in my sleep this morning. I'm like, okay, I'll figure this out when I wake up. All right, so let's go ahead and get into a more practical and tactical way of looking at the week. 7 cards for 7 days. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. zoom in a bit. Okay. This portion is for everybody. I always like to set intentions and protections. I do it before the reading, but I also like to include you in on it. So close your eyes, paint a circle of light around your body. Let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters and know that you are protected and most importantly here connected today, as we were just talking about, to that source energy. All right, so let's begin with the energy for today, which is kind of beautiful, which I appreciate. So for Sunday, we have the energy of the Nine of Cups, which is your dreams coming true. It's a celebratory card. I would expect a celebration for Mother's Day. So whether or not, listen, if we're on this planet, we have a mother, whether we know her or not, right? All of us that are present. So one thing that you can do today is to celebrate your existence and that connection to the person that helped you come into the planet. Again, this includes people that were adopted and don't know their adopted parent because somebody still brought you in. And then you have your adopted parent that loves you, just like I love my dog, as if it came from my own DNA. So celebrate all the connections that we have. And if you don't have a parent, think of someone in your life that constitutes a nurturing energy. And it can be someone that is a man too, because men can come through with divine feminine energy. So let's be much more inclusive. It's not just about one person in your life. There could be a few people in your life that give you that sense of divine feminine energy. And today is a great day to connect to that with love. It's also just a great day to have some fun, to take care of yourself, and to allow yourself to just be in a space of joy and protection. There's a lot going on in the world. I talked about it in the channeled messages. We have to pick and choose which days we're going to process it. The universe is kind of giving you a chance today to let go of the old programming and just celebrate some good stuff too, because life is that. It's good and bad. We can't just fixate on one thing. We will acknowledge it, but today especially is a day to, there's a day in the week, it's Wednesday, where you reject the programming. But today, be present, be joyful, be optimistic, look for the opportunities. That helps open up the opportunities because believing is seeing, and this card is connecting you to that. Avoid extremes, and this card can represent extreme highs or extreme lows. So when you hit one of those moments, breathe. I did a reading, I think it was 2 days ago with the Hermit, and as I was looking at it, there was all this stuff coming through, and it was difficult for me even to compute it. And I'm like, Nicholas, you just need to breathe. And then I was like, that's actually what I need to say at the beginning, is just breathe. So when we hit the highs and lows, remember that breath is the most powerful way to bring sustenance into the body. Immediately, you're going to get some oxygen. It connects you to the physical being and to the planet itself, and it makes you feel better. That's why you sigh when you hear bad news, right? Like you're like, because your body knows how to cope. So it also helps you release the energy. You're feeding yourself with oxygen, oxygenating the blood. You're releasing stress, and you're getting present in the body. That's why yoga is so powerful. So today, sigh, breathe. You can also breathe in gratitude, but that breath work is going to help you connect to this moment in time. All right. On Monday, what I'm getting here is that there might be some people coming in that want to give you a hand, want to assist you, but you may not be ready for the help yet. Sometimes people can recognize that you might need the help more than you do. So before bristling, and this is a select few, and I'll kind of make this more inclusive in a second, but before bristling, breathe and think, could that help me? If their motives are clear and clean, the more the merrier. This is also a day where you don't want to force connections. Friendship takes time. And even if you immediately, there may be like this past life connection where you meet someone and you're like, we're going to be best friends, but you don't want to come on too strong. So give people their space. If they're coming on a little too strong to you, let them know. Just say, hey, I'll think about that. I got a couple things on my schedule. Let's talk later today. Buy yourself some time. So it feels like connections want to happen, but one party is just a little bit resistant. So know that they're still curious, and you might still be curious. Just wait until the sort of like the plugs connect. like if we were plugging something into the wall. Otherwise, it's not going to be as beneficial as you might want it to be. This could just be impatience. Sometimes we set the stage, we put the 4 wands up and we're waiting for the partnership and it's not there. Keep doing the work. There's a little bit around not being so urgent, not being so impatient when it comes to partnerships on all levels, business partnerships, friendships, and romantic. So one or both of you aren't ready yet. Just keep the connection open, keep the communication going, but be sort of like, give them some freedom to breathe. Breathing is coming through in this spread, so that's it. Just a little bit of space to breathe, okay, on Monday. It is a great day for conversations, whether you're finishing a deal, initiating something, reaching out to someone, but listen more than you speak. That would be my big takeaway on Monday. As we move on to Tuesday, vitality comes through. The Ace of Wands in reverse can be exhaustion. You wake up and you think, I feel like I need like 2 more hours of sleep. It may not be the physical act of sleeping. It may be that sort of energetic load that you're carrying with you. So take a moment to release some of the things that you might be putting on your schedule. To also get back into why you're so connected to something. So like if it's a job, if it's school, if it's a relationship, what was the initial spark? Because the Ace of Wands is all about the spark, right? So we're going to deepen the spark, deepen the connection, and allow ourselves to kind of recalibrate. Oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this, and get excited again. In relationships, this is also about rekindling that spark, making sure that both sides are feeling the sense of joy. So make whatever you're doing, whether it's work or fun, it should be joyful. It should be more relaxed. So this is especially true for the type A people that are in the crowd. And by that, I mean the ones that want an agenda, everything mapped out. It's okay for things to be a little bit looser or messier this week when it comes to structure, because that allows our mind to open up, our heart to open up, and it gives us a chance to connect. Let's check in on Apollo because he's feverishly putting his paws in this little bed. So we'll give him something to feel safe with. There you go, buddy. All right, there we go. All right. Sometimes he just needs to be wrapped up in a little bit of love. Okay. Sorry for the distraction. If you have pets, you know that can be a little bit disconcerting when they're in the background. So there we go. He's good now. Just like a baby, too, sometimes they just need to be wrapped in love. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Wednesday. This is the day that I was highlighting. 2 cards. Justice in reverse, saying no to something, saying no to people that are not doing what they said they were going to do. So let's talk. It's about accountability, basically. So something is out of balance. Something may be unfair or unjust. When that happens, justice reversed is about hitting the pause button like I just did there, fixing it. It can be as simple as that. He's fine now. If I ignored it, I wouldn't be able to concentrate and he wouldn't be happy. So in your own life, there might be something just like that where if you ignore it, it just gets worse. So don't ignore it. Grab the scales of balance and fix whatever needs to be fixed, right? Here's the challenge. Someone knows that they can't do something, but they might still be making the promise. Those fingers behind the back. Sure, I'll do it, I think. Or it can even be you that where you might be trying to please someone, and even though you know it's an unrealistic expectation, you might not speak up. So instead of making a promise that you can't keep, say, while I'd like to make you happy and while I would like to do that, it's not feasible unless XYZ. So you can express a connection and like finding the common ground and just say, this is what's necessary to make your request possible. What would you like to do? Put it back in their hands. And if they say, well, I want it all, don't we all? I can't promise that. In fact, I'm telling you it's not possible. So if that's what you're saying, you're just rejecting my feedback, and so be it. I'll document it and move forward. This is why I wouldn't make it in corporate environments anymore, because I would just call it out as being unreasonable. So here's the other thing with the 7 of Swords. We talked about the 5 of Swords being one of those little voices that sit on your shoulder, like the comics where there's an angel and a devil. The Seven of Swords is trying to tell you you can get away with something. No one's going to notice. I can push this off. It's not a big deal. Notice. They will notice. It is a bigger deal than you're imagining. Don't give yourself an out. Don't give yourself an easy out. Have the conversation. Even up the scales. Make sure things are right. When it comes to contracts, reject them outright if it's either illegal, immoral, imbalanced, or unfair. It's pretty clear with this. It's amazing that these two came right by, side by side. So this is evening it up, and this is saying, I don't think so. Can't outfox the fox. There are two foxes on this card, okay? Elevate communication. Avoid making a contract or promise that is, again, lacking integrity, and ask questions. Whenever we get those sort of nebulous cards, the Two of Swords, the Eight of Swords, the Seven of Swords, the Five of Swords, they're not nebulous. Some of them are. The 2 and the 8 are. The 5 and the 7, it's just someone trying to get you to ignore something. Call it out. Use your communication. Be clear, concise, and direct, and that's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. Let's go to the next day, Thursday. There could be some hidden opportunities and blessings. There could be something that you're missing. This is a great day. We were talking about the sort of advice and friendship that wanted to come through on Monday. If you're more ready and they're still willing and ready to come through, this is a great day to get them, to give the external insight that we see here with the extra eye kind of looking in. We could see it as the eye of providence. It could be your third eye. It could be a different or outside perspective. It could also be the veneer of what you thought was kind of breaking down, and you're seeing it for what it truly is. He's finding a little rose there under one of those cups. Now, typically, it's being offered by the universe floating in the distance. And sometimes it's not what we thought, when we wanted it, or how we thought it would come through, but it might be exactly what we need. So this is why taking some time to tune in, getting an external perspective, all of these things are going to be really, really important today, okay? Things may be better than you think. So whatever you're looking at and whatever might be frustrating, you just know that there's more to the story. Okay? Let's take a look at Friday. It's a gorgeous card here. We have the Lovers, and it's representing the ability for things to finally sit in a place where it feels like everybody's happy. One thing that I like about Lovers energy is it's magnetic. So if you work on yourself and work on all the things this week that might need to be tweaked or balanced, by the time Friday comes around, you're just feeling this sense of ease. And it's very attractive to other people when they see that you're happier, you're balanced, you're connected. It's like, I want to be around that. So I feel like this is a very persuasive day for many of you. It's a great day, of course, for connecting with people that you love. So go on a date, spend some time with your partner, hang out with your children or your friends. And also, if you want to get strategic, you can have important conversations because people are just more likely to come to the table feeling like, yeah, let's do this. There's more camaraderie. There's more ease of conversation. It's a people day for sure. And if you're single and happy, it's a great day just to do something that you love. Love in the highest forms, okay? All right, let's take a look at the weekend, starting with next Saturday. Another opportunity to speak up. King of Swords, outspoken, communicative, and walks the walk and talks the talk. It's important in this period to make sure that if there's something that needs to be said, this is the day. You got one chance in the midweek. King and Queen of Swords are very much like a lawyer. So this can be a lawyer, justice, literally, but we could also be working with somebody that advocates on our behalf. So you could be working with an advisor or lawyer. It feels like both they and you need to be very, like, no holds barred. Just say it as you see it, and then sit with that for a second without taking anything personally. If you do have to say something to someone, stick to the facts, be kind, be brief. Listen. All of those things will help you in that communication. Moving on to 7 days from today, next Sunday. You're exactly where you need to be, even if you're not where you want to be. In other words, just stay put for a little bit. We have the Hanged Man. You are gaining insight by staying still. The inclination, the desire may be, but I want to do this and I want to do it now. And the universe is saying, you can get what you want, but today isn't the day to make that happen. It's parenting us a little bit. That's what the Hanged Man can be. If you're traveling, I don't want to say expect delays, but plan for a delay. This is something I learned earlier this year when I had to travel for the wildfires. And you don't always have a choice sometimes when you're booking, but I had to do some connections, and the airline had set it up so the connections were too close and there was inclement weather. So the defrosting and deplaning and all of that was taking too long, and every time they booked a connection, I missed it. And so I learned a lesson there, which is if it's bad weather, get a direct flight. If you can't get a direct flight, make sure that it's many hours later and just sit at the airport and have a layover. That's going to be better than trying to run across. So that's one example of booking and allowing for, And the other thing is get there a day earlier. Don't, especially with all that's going on, at least in the States, with airlines and safety and many things. You want to give yourself a buffer of at least a day in case you have to reschedule. So this is not the day to leave 5 minutes before an appointment or to cut it really, really short. You want to make sure that you are preparing for a necessary but maybe inconvenient delay, and know that this is what I believe. Whenever that delay happens, I'm like, well, there was something about that plane or that moment in time that I wasn't supposed to be in. I do believe guides help us. So perhaps I'll meet someone on the next plane. Perhaps I'll get there at just the right time and have just the right conversation, and I was being intentionally delayed so that synchronicity could happen. I will play that mental game with myself and then just enjoy some time in a lounge or something. So if you are traveling and you get a delay, that's one thing. If you have something else in your life, like, you were thinking you were going to get in this semester, but it's next semester, the same sort of rules apply. Maybe there's a great teacher that's not going to be available until the following semester. Whatever it is, the delay is a blessing. It's an annoying blessing. And you got 2 of them this week, but it's still a blessing. Highlights and challenges for this week. Highlights. Today's a highlight. 9 of Cups. Friday is a definite highlight. Challenges, the midweek. And I think next Sunday. The rest of the week is completely manageable, but you can kind of go back, rewind, and listen to it. But overall, I like what I see in this spread. All right, we're going to move on to the elemental forecast now. This is the only portion that is specific to the signs. Everything else is for everybody that showed up. So I've got everything lined up nicely here. And I'm going to choose a different deck of cards. Let's see. I'm going to do the When Women Had Wings, I think. Okay, we're going to break this down into fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, water. Fire signs. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It's a great card coming through for you. Things are moving forward. The 6 of Swords. The speed with which they move, who knows? But they're moving forward, and that's something to know. That's actually what came through. Like, when we think of the 9 of Pentacles card, I talk about the snail. I love it. But it's because it's such rich abundance on the card, and it's a reminder there's really, in very rare occasions, like overnight success. Usually it's slow and steady that wins the race. So sometimes moving slow and steady is just fine as long as you're moving. So having a conversation, making a decision, sending an email, that's a 6 of Swords moment. You're doing something, particularly when it's communication-based, that may take a moment. There's a relay, time difference sometimes even, and the other person has to read it, then they have to reply, then you have to read it, but it's moving. Sometimes we go forward like a speedboat, sometimes we're rowing. And that's what this is showing, is rowing. And it's interesting that we sometimes expect things to happen like that, but in the 6 of Swords, it's more like this. You're rowing. So never underestimate how one sort of stroke like that can take you much further down the line. It just takes one yes or one email or one connection, and then you're on a jet plane, okay? But each step of the journey is important. This also represents moving on. If you've had a difficult chapter in your life, you may finally be at the turning point. where you're not constantly fixating on could have, should have, would have. Instead, you're thinking, oh, I was just thinking about today or tomorrow or something else. Your mind shifts. So it's been over 3 years since my mom passed away. I'm at a point now where I'm no longer holding on to the grief. It still comes and goes. You never get over things fully when it comes to death. You learn to integrate it into your life, and you embrace it in a different way. This is true if you've lost a partner, a child, a pet, a job, whatever it is. When you lose something or when it exits your life, there's always a piece of you connected on some level, and it affects you. There's always a piece of that in your memory, but you can reframe it. And a big part of today's reading is reprogramming. So the Six of Swords is that really cool moment when it's not a big deal, especially like with breakups. You're like, I'm not thinking about that person anymore. I forgot they were even in my address book. I think I can delete it now without worrying about it. So moving onward is definitely something that I'm feeling. And it is that sort of final phase of traditional grieving that's coming through here. And then when that happens, you can move on to new and greener pastures. Travel may be coming through this week. All of the warnings that I gave you with travel especially is true of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And that fiery energy can build up sometimes when things don't go the way you want. So just remember to take a deep breath. Go grab like a coffee or tea and then relax and just say, I'm going to go with it because there's only so much I can control in this moment in time. But things are starting to move. The speed, not so important. Just the fact that they're moving, that's the key thing. Let's move on to the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Some of you are ready to move on. Speaking of that, Five of Wands represents something in our life where we feel diminishing returns. In a like if you're having a conversation with someone, it can be potential conflict. If you're working, it's basically there's a lot of duplicative effort, and it's like, why am I doing this? I'm just spinning my wheels. The next card in this suit is success. It's the Six of Wands. So you're either going to step up, or you're going to move on, or you're going to find a way to come together with the other person. You have three choices. So are you in? If you're not, it's easy. You're going to move in a new direction. If you're in, it's either leadership or finding a leader and working together. She's pulling her hair out in this. Don't do that. Stress release, stress reduction, stress management, also a big part of this, particularly as illustrated. We don't want to go to that. You may also be able to get some more done on your own this week. So when the group energy is lacking, pull back a little bit. And remember, there's probably someone else that feels the way you do. And this is where there's a hidden ally, I think, for some of you. Okay? So work smarter. Try to find a common ground. Decide if you're in or out. And then elevate that sort of connection. Moving on to the air signs. We have full moon, right? Tomorrow, I'll be doing a special reading. So for the air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, you could be feeling the energy of the moon more than the rest. And what really is happening with the moon card in tarot is it's encouraging us to look at what we are triggered by. It could be fear, it could be excitement, it could be anxiety. Typically, this card, you see a little lobster at the front. It's coming out from the depths of the water and it's saying, deal with me, look at me, understand me. And so in this moment, when you address the base emotions, then you can see the path that typically is on this card, which is behind you. There are three elements. Since I'm going into the traditional card, I'll find it. But one is to deal with the fear. Two is to avoid conflict, because there's usually a wolf and a dog. And then the third and the most important one is to get back to the sort of more important thing, which is the path at hand. So I feel like there's been distractions over the past couple of weeks. It could be your friends, it could be your job, it could be the planet, because there's so much going on. So we're going to deal with the fears, we're going to avoid the conflict, and we're going to walk the path to illumination. And that's pretty much what we see on this card. There are other things that this can represent, but as we're looking at it, I was like, we got to walk through the three different portals. And maybe there is five for some of you. If I had to pick two more on this one, it would be honesty, because this card also has to do with telling the truth, and it's intuition. So thanks, Spirit. It really is kind of five if we need to go that deep. Listen to your instincts. Be honest. avoid unnecessary competition, address your feelings, and get back to the path at hand. And what we see on this one is she has wings. I mean, this whole deck is about flying. So ultimately, this is going to give you the ability to coast in the next part of your life. Relationships could be a little dicey this week where someone doesn't want to show their true colors. Wednesday is the day. And particularly Libras, they're not having this because you're coming through with that. But all the air signs are kind of like, we need to have a conversation. So that may be the tipping point. That may be the day where you're like, it has to be dealt with. So just highlighting that for the air signs. Okay, water. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. For whatever reason this week, all of the beneficial relationship cards are reversed, which is showing disbelief, a lack of preparation, or just surprise when it comes to people that have your back or want to connect with you. Breathe, sort out your emotions, their emotions, and decide, is it me or is this something that I should just kind of embrace and approach? Feels like there could be a partnership that comes through. It could be good news, folks. Someone saying, hey, I would like to work with you, or I'd like to talk to you, but not in a bad way. Someone that's interested positively in your energy. So you get to, kind of like the temperance angel, you weigh it out. You weigh out both sides, or like the scales of justice, and you think, do I want this? That's it. And if you do, great. Now, if you are offering something to someone or extending an olive branch or whatever it is, the common theme this week is let them have some space. It could be unrequited. There may be more just of like an amicable thanks but no thanks. It could be too soon. The hanged man comes through for you on this one. Or it could be just right. And if it is just right, trust in that as well. Okay? So that's the week ahead for all of the signs, very cosmically connected. Nothing overly concerning, honestly, with this. I feel like everything is just about pacing, organizing, and sorting out emotions. If I had a common theme this week, it's emotions. All right. Now we're going to move on to the special topic, clearing the cobwebs, identifying the cycles as well while we're doing that. All right. Let me get everything set up here. Quick reminder as I'm getting the table set up. If you like this, please subscribe. We've kind of been sitting at the same number for a while. I'd love to hit a milestone. We can do something special when we get to that. You can follow me on social media for any major announcements or reminders. And in advance, I'd like to say thanks to everybody that has chosen to give back in the way of a super sticker, super chat, or a membership. I couldn't legitimately be here without your support, so thank you so much. All right, let me select the deck here and we'll get started. All right, I'm going to choose this deck because I just recently repurchased it. It's an Indie 1, Starseeker Tarot. I think she's stopping these. She's no longer doing decks, so I wanted to buy one before it went away. All right, again, reconnecting with your energy, with your source, reestablishing the boundaries around us. Let's take a look at karmically, what's going on? What do you need to see? And more specifically, where is the program not serving you anymore, since I was looking so much at programming energy? I will do the extended forecast, but we're not going to go into all the subcategories. We'll just do a single card for each so that I have a little bit of room later to look at mothers and other things that want to come through. So I've been changing this up on all readings and all signs. Okay. Oh, we need a catalyst as well. All right, let's begin with your catalyst energy. So it came through reverse, but let's look at it upright. It says divine protection, cords cut, perfect for today. And then it says breakthrough energy. The cord cutting piece is so important. So there are many different ways that you can do cord cutting. It doesn't have to be this sort of like ridiculously ornate imagination sort of thing that you do. You can simply cut cords with words. And I think this is the easiest way to access cord cutting. So what you can envision in your mind's eye is the other party. And we can do a little bit of this in the final meditation, so stick around if you want to do cord cutting. But basically see the other person and then make a declaration. It can be as clear and as simple as I release you. With kindness, with joy, I release you. But you can make it much more distinct and much more direct. So we'll talk about it, but use words to declare your freedom and your independence. And you can release pain as a teacher. You can release difficulties. You can release old vows. So, I believe in reincarnation. I've been shown past lives. But let's say you took a vow of chastity and or poverty. You no longer need those. They don't serve you in this lifetime. So you can release that and say, I'm open to literally love and abundance, because both of those, you're denying yourself that. So maybe it served you in a past lifetime to not have love or to not have wealth. But most of us in this lifetime want it. So I release any vows of chastity or poverty in previous incarnations and welcome in love and abundance in the highest forms, because that is a nice way to connect with your higher self, to bring joy. Joy is connected to love. Love is connected to God. So you don't have to deny yourself those things. So just cutting some of the cords from the past, because you might have had a vow like that, or any contracts that don't serve you. Maybe there was a contract you made in a past life that you thought was good, but now it's like, that's not right. That's not very valid. So you can just say, I release any old contracts that no longer serve me. So I'll repeat all of these and we'll do it in a sacred ritual at the end, but it's basically just that. Go through and let go of stuff that you don't need anymore, okay? And you have to say it in a way that is clear and direct, and you're taking it and you're cutting the connection. With kindness, with love, with light, and you seal it off. You may also have a breakthrough and it requires action. Ace of Swords, which is basically what this is potential, but it requires action. So talk the talk, walk the walk. Super important, okay? And I mean, I think some of this stuff is important on a day, whether it's Mother's or Father's Day. Our deepest and sometimes most challenging connections happen with family. So it could be any part of the family. And so one of the things that you can do today, you don't have to actually say it to the person for it to work, by the way. You can just start working on it within. Because when you liberate yourself energetically, you'll eventually be able to have a conversation and say it. But the energy has to happen first. And when a really kind of great example now over 10 and a half years ago, but when I quit my job, I made up my mind at least 6 or 8 months in advance. And then I practiced. The night before, I had to talk to my boss. I had the conversation in my head. I heard my boss, and I kind of kept practicing. And the minute I picked up the phone and we started talking, she said, "You're quitting, aren't you?" So I had done the energetic work, and that person was intuitive anyway. And I was, yes, it was easy. It was easy. I didn't have to say anything. They said it for me. But I actually was meditating on it a good 24 to 48 hours before, walking through all the conversations and just saying, I release you with kindness and with love. I'm ready to move on. This isn't my place. I was like pumping it out energetically with kindness. So by the time we picked up the phone, my work was done. It was hard to get to that point. I had to keep telling people I want to do this. A lot of times as an intuitive, I see what's best for me before anyone else does. A current example is just I see myself making a major move beyond the country. And I'm like, okay, I see it happening. I'll figure out how that's going to happen. So sometimes there's these major changes that you get. And if I didn't do that one 10 and a half years ago, I wouldn't be here today with all of you. So I know the next big move, which is pretty significant, will also open up another exciting chapter of opportunities. You have to trust it when you have a big epiphany. when it's like I'm in or I'm out. Because leaving can be an important thing too. Leaving a relationship, leaving a job. Same thing with getting in, putting the ring on your finger, starting something new, starting a company, starting an endeavor. These are big Tower and world energies. So do the work mentally first. Line it up and get that contract clear in your head what you're trying to do. And then by the time you articulate, you're manifesting openings left and right, okay? All right. Let's look at the spread real quick. The Tower, interesting. The Tower looks like an ace in this deck, which is interesting. Three of Wands, manifesting better things, and slow and steady energy. Things are happening, but not at the speed with which you'd like them. So we'll take it one card at a time. Eight of Cups. You don't have to make your mind up today. One step at a time. So the Eight of Cups is about an overdue vacation, a necessary separation from where you are and where you want to be, and a chance for all of this to sit in your head for a second. By the way, this is also the card of cycles, so it's super appropriate that this came through. Sleep on it at the very least and see if you feel the same tomorrow. Give yourself a month or two if you can and see if you still feel the same. And better yet, if you have an opportunity to go and let's say there is something where you're going to take a transfer to another city, state, country, or province, like travel there, see if you like it, do some research. Looking around and sitting with it is the main thing here. The other thing is you may be in a favorable position where you can do something like if you're in education or something like that, where you take a sabbatical. This is moving away from it for a bit, but being able to come back if you change your mind. So no decision needs to be made today other than you're interested in doing something different. Your heart is saying, I want to try this. I want to explore this. So explore it. You don't have to decide today. Some of you are coming back to an epiphany. You're like, well, I think I want to do it. I've already done the soul searching. I've already taken a break. So now it's time. So once you've given yourself the time, it's saying, all right, let's go for it. If you haven't, then give yourself the time to do so. If there's something that you don't like, now is the time to speak up. In relationships, this card can be like sporadic. The person's there, then they're not there. So you want to make sure that you know the level of commitment. Let's see what's crossing the card. Strength card. Don't force it. Okay, so we love the Strength card because anything that she wants, she can usually get. It's like that old song by, I think, America. You can do magic. Anything that you desire, basically, you can have. But there is a cost energetically to sometimes force things to happen. And if you're constantly getting someone to agree with you or to acquiesce or to do what they said they were going to do, and this is for the Wednesday energy where it was Justice and Seven of Swords. If you've told them that something isn't wise and they do it anyway, let the cards fall as they may. You don't have to kind of exert too much energy, exhaust yourself, because strength can also be exhaustion, right? I'm also seeing twin stars. I forget twin flames. I like twin star energy. So we have two equal sort of energies coming through, and notice how they're not fighting here. There's the sun and the reflection of the sun. There's a strong energy and a reflection of that strong energy. Sometimes there can be two stars in the same place. I mean, in most solar systems, there's double, triple, or quadruple systems. We're one of the few that has a lone star. But there's a lot more double systems out there, binary systems. So this is a time where the power of two may come in and help you. So it's just a matter of like allowing someone else to help. That's the hard part sometimes. All right, so clearing the cobwebs. We have the Tower. The Tower is reversed. It's in the deep past. Notice how on every Tower card that's decent, you're going to see lightning. Usually you see people falling or pieces falling away from the Tower. The lightning is the important thing. You're going to see at least one or two signs before something major happens. You're going to hear the rumbling. There could be feedback. There could be gossip. It could be your own higher self, your voice in your head saying, what are we doing? I want you to pay special attention to lightning and thunder, figuratively speaking, visible signs and audible signs. and ask yourself, what am I waiting for? Now is the time. The tower's in the past. The foundation's already crumbling. You don't have to watch the tower fall. The tower can be a job. It can be a relationship. It can be a place. It can be something that once served you well, but the cracks have been showing for a while. And so now you're going to realize, I actually can't hold it up. I can't fix it. It's meant to fall away, because behind the tower might be something better. Beyond the tower might be something better. So you're going to heed warnings. You're going to listen to your intuition, and you're going to create a foundation that is firmer than what you've been on. Whatever hasn't been working, it hasn't been working for a reason. And there's been resistance for some of you, because it's convenient, because it's what you thought you wanted, because that was maybe the childhood vision of where you thought you would be right now. It's okay for that to fall apart. It's okay. In life, nothing's forever. Nothing's constant, except energy and except love and except our consciousness. But when we're looking at physical stuff, things crumble. You look at the Colosseum in Rome, it's still there, but it's not going to be there forever. So we have to enjoy things in the moment, and when they've come to pass, let them go and allow yourself to create something new. You can take those pieces and rebuild. Something's already come to pass. So I like how this artist made these almost both look like Ace of Wands. One is exhausting, one is crumbling, but now we actually legitimately have the Ace of Wands. And this is a spark of emotion, an idea. This is where you want, like, trust in your initial thought. There's something that's coming through, like the torch on the Statue of Liberty, and it's saying, hey, listen, look at me. It's like a lighthouse. So I want you to go for this idea. This is going to open up more doors and more opportunities than you might initially think. Again, the time that it's going to happen in, who knows? That's kind of up to you and how receptive you are to signs and symbols, but I can see that the next chapter is going to be more exciting than the previous chapter. And there's an idea that's just wanting you to pay attention to it. So by the way, we have, the idea and the execution, and that's why eventually it's going to be, how am I going to breathe life into this month, this week? The crowning position, one of your challenges, perception and perspective. So in the Five of Cups, something has come to pass, ostensibly the Tower moment. Something great is just on the horizon or just within the periphery. Two of Cups, partnership, friendship, celebration. But the person has to grieve first. I saw some of you had Six of Swords energy, which is moving on. This is letting the grieving finish first and then moving on to that next element or that next item. So maybe it's the final teardrop, and then we start to see something joyous come through. I don't know what the resistance is. I think it's just protection, but around new friends, new colleagues, and new love. It wants to come in. It keeps showing up in the periphery, literally right here. So if you're open, I do feel like this could be a time for new relationships and healing in those relationships as well. Slow and steady wins the race. Our favorite friend, the snail. And look at all the abundance in this card. It was worth the wait. I like how they have a slightly different bird in this one. It almost looks like a hawk or a falcon or something. So this is also allowing yourself to, just like we saw in the center, take a step back and see something from a new perspective, a new vista. And then in doing so, it's going to be easier to deal with the timing or the timelines that it takes for something to happen. I'm just double checking the placement on that one. It was reversed. So for many of you, there is this sort of internal wish, I want it now, and why is it taking so long? It's taking so long because, unlike the past, the foundation, it needs time to dry, right? Things need time to set. So you're nearly there. They're maybe one step away. And we even see that in this unusual illustration for the Eight of Cups. All she needs to do in this moment is either take the final step or get some perspective. I am reminded, though, however, about the myth in Greek mythology. Was it Eurydice? I can't remember, but it was basically this lover lost his love and had to go down to Hades basically and ask for, her to be saved. He had a rule though. He had to basically leave Hades without looking back. He had to trust that the process was happening. And at the very last moment, he reached for his love and then she evaporated. So don't look back, no regrets. It doesn't have to be as dismal as the Greek and Roman mythology was. But it's saying you're at a point in your life where the hesitation, the doubt, it doesn't serve you. You're fine. It's taking a little longer than you think maybe, but I feel like you're one step away. Just take that last step. Don't look back and think could have, would have, should have, and don't doubt yourself. That's the big takeaway from that. Okay, for whatever reason, I flash back to that. I know Eurydice, but I can't remember the name of the guy in that one. It'll come to me later. Someone can put it in chat. Okay, let's look at you right now. Orpheus, thank you. Orpheus and Eurydice. Okay, so here's the thing that's kind of interesting with Greek and Roman mythology. They're extremely sad and unhappy for the most part, but you remember the lessons, right? There is something about those where it's not all like a Hallmark ending. Very rarely was there a Hallmark ending. Okay, King of Pentacles in reverse. Take care of yourself. Self-development, personal development, absolutely what you should be focusing on right now. Try not to overdo things, though. Workaholic energy can be the King of Pentacles reversed. Overindulgence, whatever your vice might be, can be the King of Pentacles in reverse. Micromanaging as well. So focus on what you can affect. Let go of things that you can't. Help the people that want to be helped. Don't exert too much energy on the people that exhaust you. And be a little bit more active. He's passive in this card. So that's how we can transmute the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's give and take. And it's not about extremes. But there is a call to action when it comes to your time, your schedule, and your money. All resources. Get a firmer handle on them, and that's going to help you have more than enough. What's going on in the environment? 3 of Pentacles. A little hard to read because the text is almost impossible on this one. So is it 3? It's 5. I'm going to put on my glasses. It's the 5 of Pentacles. I like this deck, but yeah, it's 5. They need to do a better job with, that is too light. Okay, 5 of Pentacles in reverse. This actually makes a lot of sense for today. I can now see the person here. This is about healing the wounds of childhood and the family. So let me pull the traditional card on this one. I think it's coming through for a reason today. For those of you that are no longer as strongly connected with your parents as you'd like to be, and maybe they're no longer on the planet, like my parents are both in spirit. I continue, thankfully, with mediumship and psychic energy. I've had conversations and dreams and meditations, and we've done a lot of healing. I feel pretty much at peace. But know this, even if you don't have the ability to hear, know that they do. And the one really cool thing about your perspective with a parent on the other side, they don't get to mute you. So if there's something that you needed to say, you can now say it without interruption. So I still find myself talking just at times to them. I'll say something out loud and say, I'm glad you didn't have to see this, or I wish we could have talked about this, or whatever. And it just feels good because the dialogue continues. I know they hear. I'm sure they're frustrated because they can't immediately pick up the phone and call me back, but you can exercise the wounds of the past by doing that. Just because someone couldn't see, recognize, or understand the pain or the struggle that you have or had in your life, it does not mean that it wasn't real. There could have been some gaslighting for some of you where they just didn't understand it. So you're coming to terms with that and you're saying, I am the universal mother energy in my life, strength, because this is one of the strongest cards you can get in the major arcana. So you have the strength and the capacity to heal yourself. Take some time to nurture yourself. King of Pentacles in reverse is paternal energy, and he's doing what he needs to take care of himself. Really pay attention to your general health and your finances. Don't overextend, energetically or financially. Those are the big takeaways there. 3 of Wands in hopes, fears, and opportunities. All right. So this is an amazing and a beautiful illustration because the person isn't sitting at the top of the hill expecting that feeling of entitlement waiting and wishing, not following the law of detachment, basically, or being distracted and looking over there when it's happening over here. They're already there. They're in the ship. They're in the ship meeting another ship. This is the Six of Swords energy that I saw for some of you. Early bird gets the worm when it comes to an idea. Many of you already have something that has been cooking for a little bit. So it's time to take action on that idea or that dream. In this moment, you're going to see rapid succession and rapid sort of movement with respect to that. Three of Wands. There may be more than one thing that you're juggling at once. I think it's the Sun and Moon deck where we see them juggling. So I'm getting that energy of get ready, fasten your seatbelts. If you were struggling with the speed before, now you're going to wish that you could pump the brakes a little bit. So on the horizon, I see a lot more happening, a lot more quickly. There is a desire or an encouragement in this card to get out there and meet the opportunity rather than passively wait for it to come to you. And there could be travel on the horizon as well. Everything that we dream sometimes has like rose-colored glasses and doesn't always come through perfectly. People are imperfect. Opportunities are imperfect. Can you embrace the imperfections and see beyond them? Because once more we have the Five and the Four of Cups. So even if something didn't come to pass the way you thought, there might be something bigger or better within reach. Even if something didn't work out the way you wanted, there might be a person there that has your back through thick and through thin. So you put these extra cups here, 1, 2, 3 together, and there's something to celebrate. There's a lot of other stuff there that you want to release, but celebration awaits when you're ready to reframe the narrative is what I'm getting with that. Okay? We're going to expand this, and I'm going to look at this one maybe a little bit differently. I'm thinking of making destiny just like what you need to see, because it's really what destiny is. I might rename it, but we're going to try it with today. So we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, aka what you need to see. We're going to start off in this expanded forecast. I just need to get back to the right thing here. So we're looking at all of these. We're going to start off with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And it's all about growth right now. Growth isn't easy, and it sometimes is a little bit uncomfortable. Think about when you're a kid and you're growing out of your clothes. It doesn't feel comfortable. Think about when we had to lose our teeth. Such a strange thing as an adult. You want to keep them in your mouth, but as a kid, they fall out. You have to pull them out. Like it's weird. Growing pains. We're going through some growing pains this week, and it could go beyond this week too, because when I look at any of these readings, they can go up to 4 weeks. So over the next 1 to 4 weeks, many of us are experiencing this feeling of discomfort, which is eventually going to be better because we'll be stronger, we'll be bigger energetically, and it's going to be worth the growing pains. It takes time for growth and recovery. Think Seven of Pentacles. It's worth it, but it doesn't always happen in the timing that we want. Briefly looking at health, here are your messages. Don't overwork yourself. The Five of Pentacles can be sickness. For those that have an existing injury around the foot or ankle, take care of that. There may be some bigger things that are going on, wake-up calls in your life where for a while it's like, this isn't working. I just need to embrace whatever this new sort of path is in front of me. So the stubbornness needs to fade away. And if a doctor said you need to try this, you need to try this. If you feel like you need to make a necessary change away from a vice or something of that nature, please do that. A lot around emotions. So I think in this period of time, one thing that you can really focus on is your mental health and emotional well-being, and whatever you need to do to accomplish that, now is the time. Let's look at wealth. Believing is seeing. So for everybody this month, you could be focusing on, but that didn't work out the way that I wanted to, the Five of Cups. But I'm not where I thought I would be, Four of Cups. It's not happening fast enough, Nine of Pentacles. It's pretty much everything. Or I'm just sick and tired, Five of Pentacles. Meanwhile, we have the capacity to make things happen, strength. We have an amazing amount of abundance here on the Nine of Pentacles, And then the Three of Wands, real-time manifestation. It's all in what you choose to look at. So if you choose to look at what isn't, then that's what's going to be your reality. That's these two cards. Both of them are focusing on what isn't versus what could be or what is. So that's the big shift here, is when you start to see, well, that person had my back and this opportunity's knocking and I have this other idea here. Maybe this change happened for a reason and maybe I can make it happen faster. It all starts to happen faster. All right, I don't want to spend as much time on this because I do that in the monthlies. So we're going to leave it at that. And what I will say for everybody, we can make this, I'll hold the card up and say one thing for each aspect of this. So for those of you that currently have a job, we'll pull one helper for each. If something's falling apart or if you hear that sign or signal that it's time to make a change, believe in yourself. Listen to your instincts. Your instincts will lead you down the right path. Remember the midweek with justice. Do the right thing. For those of you that own your own companies, you may see something way in advance of someone else. Protect your idea. Get the proper legal protections for that. Take action. And remember, it's not about how quickly it manifests. You could plant a seed now that doesn't fully germinate for a year or two or even a decade. Keep planting different seeds. Don't fixate just on the one seed. Sometimes they take longer to grow. That's the takeaway for those that have an existing company or an entrepreneur. For those of you that are looking for work, believe in yourself. Self-worth equals net worth. This is what believing is seeing is all about. If you don't believe it and if you don't see it, the hiring manager isn't. I'm not going to. And on some level, you're just going to have a more difficult time making it happen. Believe in what you're wanting to do. And for some of you, it could be a different path altogether because the path that you were on wasn't satisfactory. There could be options that aren't perfect, but maybe a stepping stone. You get to decide if that's enough. What I'm really seeing is short-term engagements. That is the Eight of Cups, on and off. So you may have to juggle a few at once. Students, same thing here when it comes to your future. There does come a point you're going to live your life for yourself. If all goes well, there'll be a point where you're the oldest in your family or you've outlived your parents or it's your life to live. So you really need to believe in what you're doing. And you may see a path that, again, deviates from what was expected. It's okay. We really want to focus on self-worth this month in particular. So anyone that you can surround yourself that believes in you the way that this card is kind of pushing out there energetically, that's really what you want to do. Coach, a mentor, someone that you trust. Retirees. This is interesting. You may be going deeper into spiritual development. You may be starting to challenge your beliefs. That programming message that I got at the very beginning, I believe, may be more for you, where it's like, I've seen so much in my lifetime that I have to change my views. I might have to change what I'm doing. There's changes that are afoot. They're exactly what you should be focusing on. It's okay to change the program. It's a sign of intelligence, actually. To only be stuck. Imagine if we were all still using Windows 3.1 or the Macintosh operating system that was black and white. It would be a not so fun world. We have to move out of that. Or if we had the original iPod that had the spinning wheel on it. So like things change for a reason. Floppy disks. We're supposed to have upgrades. Let's take a look at love. I need to get a lozenge while I'm doing this, and we'll talk about the spiritual gifts. All right. So we have Archangel Raziel coming through saying, thank you for helping me channel my gifts and talents. In relationships this month, interestingly enough, karmically speaking, it could be about a lesson. So I'll briefly turn the camera down for this portion, and we'll look at the three different levels. So if you're partnered this month, I do think that there'll be some significant changes. The Tower energy can be positive. for sure, but it can also be challenging. So there could be a life event that was unexpected, and it's testing the sort of like foundation of the relationship. It's all about perspective this month. You don't have to fix everything for your partner. Balance, give and take. Especially if it's something going on with the health. Strength, Five of Pentacles, and Tower can show an adjustment in health. Just be there for them. Help them see it from a different perspective if they want, but mostly just being present is key. For everyone else, making sure that there's time for each other. The Ace of Wands is passion. Planning a trip or a future event with each other can be really helpful. And then navigating finances. King of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles. It's really important to look at that, okay? Moving on. For those that are single and single and looking. For single and looking, here's what I'm seeing. I think it's really important to decide, where do you want to be? Like physically, as far as school and work goes, figure out your location and your trajectory. There's a Leo that's already in the mix for some of you. There's an earth sign as well. But they're more connected to where you're going to be than where you are. So the biggest gift that I could give you is, it is about aligning to your gift, actually. What did you come to the planet to do? When you start teaching, healing, creating, informing, whatever it is you're supposed to be doing on this planet, you naturally connect with the partner. You're coming through in a very nurturing way, but better boundaries are necessary. I do think it looks like there's a strength card, so Leo possibly coming into your life. Could be someone from the past, but the main thing here right now is health and location need to be stabilized. Boundaries need to be created when it comes to how much energy you're putting out there. And don't accept less than your worth. This is true of everybody this month, but particularly single and looking. Now, single and happy. You have an opportunity this month to focus on getting back to something that you forgot or you put on the back burner. And it could be your own health. You could also be starting a new job or a new sort of like endeavor in your life. I see travel, Eight of Cups and Three of Wands, beneficial travel. It also feels like this is going to be a very busy period. And this is a time, again, to connect with something that really taps you into something that makes you happy and connected to source. You more than anybody should be focusing on this. So maybe education is a piece of this as well. Okay? All right. Let's finally go to the Destiny card. And I want to look at this more in the line of this. What do you need to know in this moment in time? So we have cosmic power coming through. Let me just take off the graphic. Unlimited potential, sacred mission. Really? Yes. Sacred mission initiation. I don't know why I'm surprised, because we have the spiritual gifts. I'm pleasantly surprised because I just have been talking about this and I decided to go deeper in relationships about this. And now it's time to show up. You'll have unlimited potential when you connect to your mission. Do you feel connected to what you're doing, to who you're spending time with, to where you're living? Do you feel disconnected? If you're disconnected, if you're not feeling that sense of passion, it's time to follow your higher calling. It can happen at any point in your life. I look back at some people and I'm like, gosh, they achieved success really young. It's because they knew they were famous and they were just waiting for everyone else to catch up, or successful or impactful, and they just believed in themselves. So in this moment, just believe that believing is seeing. It's only a matter of time, and today could be the day, right? I saw a question about the deck. I already identified it. It's an independent one. You'll want to go directly to her website, Nikki Ferrata. It may be out of stock because she's stopping these. So yeah, it's basically Etsy. You can find it on Etsy. Don't buy it on Amazon. There's a bunch of imposters there. I'm always a supporter of indie decks, and she's already stated the ones on Amazon are mostly imposters. So this was one I repurchased because I lost a bunch. And I thought it was a cool one for today. Okay, so, and I don't get any kickback on that one. I bought this on my own. It's just something I like. Okay, let me see here. I would like to do a couple of additional things here. One of them is, what is the karmic anchor that is holding you back in this moment? So I'm going to do, I guess this is going to be a reader's choice. But I only have the big ideas, so here it is, reader's choice. What's the biggest anchor in this moment? I may do a few in this reader's choice section. What's holding you back? Five of Wands. We talked about this earlier. It's not worth the time and energy arguing, spinning your wheels. I actually love that we see it as a wheel, almost like you're at the helm of a ship, right? Taking the helm. So what's happening here is something may be going so far in a direction that is counter to you that the amount of energy that it would take to crank that Titanic may not be worth it. And we know how things went with the Titanic. So if someone is so misaligned, or if something is so far off path, that's when it's clear, I don't have to fix this. This wasn't of my making. I had this epiphany lately with a couple of things. I'm like, legitimately, this is not my problem. And so I don't have to watch this, and I don't have to spend energy trying to get the person to see it or do it. I'm going to focus on something else. So you could crank that wheel around or let it go in its own direction. You go and meet the ship that's actually coming in and aligning to your path. Sometimes it's better to walk away or to let something be. That's what I get. What's your next step? Eight of Swords in reverse. So, the prison of thought is the Eight of Swords. The prison of thought is created with a series of words in your mind. I can't do this because it's too much money. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have enough experience. I'm not popular enough, etc., etc. It will never happen because. People won't accept me because. What if this doesn't work? We start putting all of these fear-based energies into something before it's ever had a chance to manifest. The Eight of Swords is also ignoring the lightning and the thunder that are part of the tower. Two and Eight of Swords tend to not want to see it. I want to cover up my eyes, but you can't when the Eight of Swords is reversed. Why wait for a tower? Why wait for something to happen? Be proactive. Also, to turn around the prison of thought, what if everything goes swimmingly and it's fireworks and butterflies and connections and confetti and everything is exactly the way you want it to be? What if it all works out? So don't ignore things. Don't expend too much energy on something that isn't reciprocating your sort of like investment. So those are the big takeaways on that. I feel like that's everything that we need in this portion. Cycle. One last one. What's the next cycle going to look like for you? Woohoo! I was like, make it good, angels. We have the Lovers. It's reversed. You do deserve to be happy. You do, in fact, deserve what we see on this card, which is love and happiness and tranquility and abundance. Don't force it. And if you need to make some of these changes in order to exist in that energy of the Lovers, by all means, do it. The sooner you make the change, the happier you're going to be. Beautiful. At the very end, I'll pull an extra card for mothers, but let's go ahead and meditate and do the cord cutting first, and then we can do final card, mother's card as well. Okay, so briefly, we're going to meditate. Before we do that, please like and subscribe, because when we meditate, sometimes our mind's out in the ethers. So like and subscribe, feel free to give back if you'd like to, and get in a comfortable position because we're going to do a cord cutting meditation first. All right, deep breath. On the exhale, let go of any thoughts, any energy, any sort of anything that you're holding on to. Let your body sort of go limp a little bit and just relax. Nice, easy posture. Take that magical wand that you have and again, reinforce the circle of light around your body. You are safe, you are connected, you are protected. Allow for the person, place, or thing, because it can be any of those, that you wish to cut cords from to be in front of you, but on the outside of that circle of light. So you can see them, but there's a boundary. Now, let's start by beaming out heart light, beautiful green energy in your auric field. We're going to say these words with love. Imagine that the heart energy goes all the way to the root chakra and all the way through the crown, but specifically around the throat because we're speaking. So you're saying these things with love, and you can insert your own sort of mantra later, but if this resonates, feel free to repeat it. Thank you for your lesson. Thank you for your presence. I learned all that I need, all that I desire. With love, compassion, and absolute clarity, I release you. You can insert the name of the person, place, or thing. I release you from my thoughts, from my timeline, from my auric field, from my energy in this and all dimensions, directions, and incarnations. And I do so with love and with light. Imagine that there is a beam of light that comes through from the top and the bottom. You're connecting with source energy and it beams out in all directions. And you see all the cords, all the threads between you and this person evaporate. And the light then seals up every single connection on you and them without you having to do any work. This is a cosmic healing that's happening. See the person float away like a feather. See yourself float away like a feather. And you both land where you need to, in a place that is protected, that is higher and better than where you were together. Sometimes it's okay to release a person, place, or thing from your energy. You're wishing kindness to both of you. It's a blessing. I feel like that's all we need to do for this. Let's close this with the feeling that you're ready to receive. So place your hands in a cupped position in front of your heart. And in this moment, say, in lieu of the previous person, place, or thing, I'm ready for an upgrade. I'm reprogramming my thoughts and energy to receive something of a higher frequency. I'm ready for things to be easier. I'm ready for things to be more abundant. I'm releasing resistance in my mind, body, and spirit from receiving these things so that it will be easier. I am ready and I am deserving. Place the hands on your heart. Know that you are now ready to receive. You're like a big Ace of Cups. All right. As usual, we're going to focus on a final question. Slowly come back into your body. Take a few deep breaths. And on the final exhale, I'd like you to think of one question that you have. So we have a Get Real card, the Seven of Swords. If you ask me a yes or no, it's a no. And it's a no because there's something better than what you see. There could be something hidden in the fine print. You may not be like truly honest with yourself or vice versa. The full story, the full picture isn't there. Dig a little deeper, do a little research, ask some questions. Sometimes it's very clear and very easy in the cards. And for this one, it's not the right time, it's not the right match, it's not It's not right. And that's all I have to say on that. We'll keep it simple. Focusing now on the parent or guardian that you love the most. If you have a question or if you want me to look at something around them, because I'm going to extend it to include anybody that's the guardian, not just mothers, because some of you have two fathers. Some of you are adopted. Whoever you think most of in this moment is who I'm reading. King of Cups. Know this, that there is love there. The King of Cups it's interesting because it is a passive energy. So in this moment in time, the person that you're thinking about is also kind of maybe perhaps hoping that you come to them. So I do see reciprocated energy, but it's almost like they're waiting for you to do it first. Also, there's just a lot going on with this person. They're wrapped up in their own world. They're wrapped up in their own energies. And so if there has been any lack of communication, presence, etc., it's because they're very much in their own world at this moment in time. But it's a beautiful energy. There's a lot of love. And this one is in the stars. So for those like you, or like me that have parents that are no longer on this planet, know that the connection is always there when and if you're ready to reinitiate it. It takes time, but it's there if you want it. Also, I just see a desire for you to be happy. It's almost like they're pushing that cup out to you, like we were doing. This is your moment. This is your time. So send a healing thought their way and focus on doing something that you love. That's the best way to honor and, to live by their energy. Sorry, I had to sleep with the air conditioner on last night because we had like 90-degree temperatures. So my throat's a little bit drier than usual, which is why I have a lozenge. Anyway, that's a signal that it's probably time for me to wrap up for today. I want to say thank you to all that showed up. I appreciate your presence here. Before I get into the thank you portion, again, if this was helpful, any part of it, please consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment when this is on replay and let me know what resonated the most. You can also follow me on social media so you don't miss out on any of my postings. I know sometimes Google doesn't send everything out or it has a limit, but I always repost like a notification when I put up one of the monthly videos. So for people that are like, I'm waiting for this, just follow me somewhere else and you'll be the first to hear. You can give back with a super sticker, super chat, or membership. We'll be saying thank you in just a moment to everybody that did that. For more information about me, you can also go to my website. All right, now for the fun part. Let's say thanks. All right, I'm going to take a couple moments here just to give gratitude to everybody. An you for Dakota for helping me moderate and keep track of everything today. I'm going to start off with those that might be celebrating an anniversary or might have gifted some memberships, and then we'll move on to new members. Okay. So, Tahoe, 46 months. Look at that crown with all the points. Thank you for being here for a long time. I remember you in the pandemic, by the way. So, much appreciation towards you. And you're always great about gifting people as well. Ann Walk, thank you as well. Grateful for you as well. 18 months of membership, well over a year and a half. Good to have you here, and I appreciate you sharing your time with me too. Rafaela, 20 months. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Believe in Magic, thanks for gifting a membership today. Let's see. Who else? Okay, we also have Gia. Thank you for gifting a membership as well. I appreciate that. All right, let me open up a different tab here, and I'm going to do my best. I can't always call out all the memberships because of the interface here, but thank you to Dakota, who I know has done so here in real time. But I'm waiting for this to load. While I am waiting, I will probably do a membership video this week. One of the things that I was thinking about doing, by the way, was possibly even for members only. I think you guys might actually enjoy like a meditation because it's something that doesn't perform well. I know that you guys like it, but it actually does poorly and hurts the channel. So I was like, well, I could give it back to membership. So we could do a healing session. Healing is something that I thought about. So we'll talk about it. We'll try something new potentially for the next reading. And I'll be doing, of course, something for the next lunar cycle for everybody. Okay, let's talk about memberships here. All right. Let's see. Here we go. Let me just reduce how many I see here. Okay. Welcome to or welcome back to the following people: Anthony, Aaron, Patricia, Sarah, Michelle, Anita, Patricia again. So Patricia O and Patricia M. Gail, Mindful Steps, another Gail. So Gail D and Gail M. Lisa Moore, Lexi B. Let's see, Shelly, Marianne, Andrew, Devin, Laura, Wendy, and Fernanda. I think that's everybody here. Okay, perfect. Super stickers and super chat. Thank you to the following people for giving back. We have a decent amount today, so thank you so much. Deborah, Raven, Daniela, Popcorn, R. Paulo, I think it is, Sarah Murphy, Amitabha, Rafaela, Yolanda, and Jeannie, I think it is. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time and presence. I see Ruby Red just gave here on the other monitor, so thank you very much. If I missed anybody, know that I will see it when I go back on replay and kind of connect with all of this. Aaron, I think you also joined as a member, so welcome to you. All right, everybody. Wish you all the best today. Happy Mother's Day. Let me pick up Apollo, and we'll wrap up for today. No, he's going to lay on the floor. He basically went on his back and he said, leave me alone, Dad. So we will respect that. All right, everybody. Have a great week ahead. Much love and light. Until I see you again, take care. Bye-bye.